Welcome back, everybody. After ages, we from BarcaBuzz are back with another episode, the sixth episode of the second season of the Buzzing with Barca podcast. And today, we have with us our usual guest, Pulkit, but also a special guest and a new member. We have high hopes for this podcast because it's a full house, and we are back after a long time, and we are excited to be making a podcast for you guys. So, guys, we have our special guest, Kai, with us. Kai, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Yeah, guys, he has a new microphone, so expect better voice quality than usual. And welcome our new member, Gabby. Gabby, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you, Greta, for the presentation.
Yeah, okay, so this is going to be your debut episode. Good luck. And as usual, I have Pulkit with me. So, Pulkit, what's going on?
Good man, good. Suffering from a little cold, but okay. Love the podcast, so I'm here. So yeah,
Yeah, and since we are back after such a long time, we have lots of things to talk about, and we shall begin with 2 weeks into the Xavi era. What we have seen, what we have liked, what we haven't liked, what are our expectations for the future. And to begin this podcast, Pulkit, I'm gonna ask you to begin. What are your thoughts about the first 2 weeks under Xavi?
well, as we are back after a long time, so is Xavi to the club, isn't he? And of course, there are good feelings. He's a club legend. He's a club legend midfielder. And of course, there will be people who will doubt that we don't want another Pirlo incident happening in Barcelona. But I, for one, am one of the fans who has good feelings and really want him to succeed at the club. Really want a style of play back, which of course Kai will talk about in a little while. And I'm really happy actually with the performances. Of course, the Benfica result did not go our way, but the way we played and the way we played against Espanyol, although we got a goal, that was very lucky for us. We can argue about that as well. But really happy to be a part of the generation that sees Xavi as the manager, and I hope he can succeed.
Okay, a great analogy. So, Gabby, I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
you to continue. What do you think?
Okay, I think Xabi is doing well. Okay, he's doing well, but I feel like we need more. I feel confident about Xabi because he's a club legend and he knows the philosophy of Football Club Barcelona. Uh, but I feel like we need more goals. I mean, I know most of our strikers are injured, but I feel like he trained more on the trainings. He trained more about the defensive part and not so much the attack part. Uh, as you can see, his two first matches we scored only one goal, so more or less we have the same problem as on Koeman era. So uh, I don't know what to say more, but.
Yeah, okay, pretty good points that you feel like we need to convert more goals. But apart from that, do you think that our style of play is good enough for you?
Yeah, we're playing so fine. I feel like, for example, Busquets is playing more comfortable since Xavi's here. For example, he's having such good performance. I
Exactly, more
think
freedom.
that's a point. Yeah, I think that's a point. Um, that's why we are defending also better
Yep.
because I felt with Kuma like Busquets was a bit lost in the pitch. I don't know if you understand me.
Yeah, it's okay, we do understand. And okay, we shall move on to Kai to provide a more of an analytics point of view. So, Kai, go ahead.
Uh, I would say that you can notice from the first two games, and already in the first game, that there's a immense inspiration from Pep and Enrique in his ideas, notably that he tries to get the ball as quickly as possible and insists on patterns in the final third that you can see from Enrique that he's got a notable influence. And I'm definitely happy with the performance so far. I don't think there's much to blame on him because personally, I expected worse. I expected, for example, that we would concede more goals, for example. So I already see it as a very good beginning. on my side. And I think that will improve because there's been, a lot of misfortune. If you look, for example, at Benfica, there's quite a few shots that could have easily, with a bit of luck, ended in, on our side. At the same time, both of the games have shown limitations, notably against Espanyol. We had the issue, that the second half was very stressful, and we've had that Seferovic miss at the end of the Benfica game that almost blew our entire chances. But the issue to me is that if we're assuming we're playing well, how much is it due to Xavi himself, and how much is actually the players playing well? So that's a question to ask, and as Gabi already said, you can see that Busquets seems more comfortable, more in his mold. And that's been also the case for me for Frankie, who's played much better, which we'll talk about later. But to me, there's definitely some sort of influence, and I'm very happy that players like Abde and Ilyas got their chances, so I didn't expect it that early.
Move on to the next topic. Is the Europa League coming? So yeah, we lost the match versus Benfica, and now things are very complicated for us to move on to the next stages of the Champions League. What we need to do is to move on to the next stage is number one option is win against Bayern, or hope that Dynamo Kyiv win their next match, which is not extremely probable given the fact that they haven't won any of their competitions this season. So yeah,
No,
let us talk about it since Gabby wants to speak. Gabby, you can go first.
Okay, I mean, also Benfica, if Benfica ties and Barca wins, also we classify, and the same if we tie and also Benfica tie or lose. But I feel like it's difficult because they play in Portugal. I mean, Benfica plays in Portugal against Dinamo. So I mean, Bayern doesn't. They want to give a good image in front of the public. I don't know how to say. Wait.
What's
Yes,
the word?
in front of the fans.
In
Yes,
front of the fans,
in front of
yeah?
their fans. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
fans.
That's the point because they're already classified. But we play Munich. That's why I think it could it would be easy. It wouldn't be easy. Sorry. But I feel like we can do something more about Bayern with Xavi as coach.
Exactly,
I have
and
hopes about
they have they have
I have
some
good
injuries
feelings.
and Bayern have some injuries like in the players of Kimmich, who is a very
Kimmich,
important
yes.
player, and some more hopefully, and he's probably not going to be back for the Barca match. So there's that. There's hope for that. And we talked about this, Marco and I, in the episode 2 of the post-match review. I don't mean for this to sound like an advertising regime, but yeah, if you want, you can check it out. So I'm going to pass the mic to Kai. So Kai, what do you think? Is the Europa League coming? What are your views about the upcoming match versus Bayern?
I'm definitely excited to see, because we saw against Benfica that despite we didn't get the goal, Xavi kept pushing. When you look at the last substitution, where I'm sure that, for example, Koeman would have subbed on a defender, he didn't. He subbed on Des, which is far from your most defensively solid player. And I hope to see the same against Munich. For me, the reaction will be key to see if he will continue to play like he originally instructed his players to. The importance itself is not the loss or the win, it's the reaction to it. And I'm hoping to see that whether we end up in Champions League or in Europa League, that Xavi's reaction will be unconditional, in the sense that he will not alter his ways based on that, at least not in forgetting the philosophy whatsoever. I definitely think we do have chances, for the reason that you mentioned. There's a few players that are injured, and we don't know to what extent Bayern will take the encounter seriously, because as far as I know, they're first and they're not likely, to go down. So that's also something to talk about. And I do think we have our chances, but but the question is to me who concedes the least or who scores the most, because it's definitely going to be interesting to see two highlights, one against the other, since that's a fairly uncommon thing to have in football, especially in the Champions League. So I'm definitely excited, no matter the result, and I'll remain positive. Because if we get the Europa League, it of course PR-wise it's horrible and financially as well, but I definitely wouldn't cry over it, because I definitely feel that like next season Xavi would manage to get this back to the Champions League, and hopefully it will be quickly forgotten should that happen.
Yeah, exactly. So you're saying that even if we are relegated to the Europa, you wouldn't be that sad over it. Because, yeah, of
No.
course, in your eyes as an analytics guy, you see the footballing teams as what they are. Like, no team is inferior to another. And Europa League also has some very good teams, especially
Yes.
especially Dortmund, because it will be hilarious if we get relegated to the Europa, that the golden boys of both 2020 and 2021 will be playing in the Europa League. So yeah,
Even
go ahead. Yeah, now that this topic is covered pretty much, I have nothing more to add. So we hit the buzzer and we move on to the next topic, something which Pulkit gave us a little spoiler about, the options in attack. So we are talking about the probable options that we have in attack, and of course we will analyze while we're at it what kind of players Bayern have at their possession, who are fit, who Bayern are likely to play. So Pulkit, since you were already talking about it, I'll let you begin this one.
Definitely. We have some exciting options in attack, don't we? Of course, Dembele is back from injury. We don't know for how long because of his inconsistency and his fitness issues. And we saw in the last game as well, Yusuf Demir had a great game. That color, doesn't it remind you of something that hit the post?
Someone.
That shot, yeah. And we talked about it in the live commentary as well, did we, Sagnik? That it's so too much similar to some other incident of some other
Exactly.
player that used to play
Yeah.
for us. So excited for that. Of course, Ilias is there in the Champions League. Abdi isn't registered for it. Maybe we register him in January. Not sure about that. Great options. Of course, Ansu Fati is there. Not sure whether he'll be back for the Bayern game, like I mentioned earlier as well. Plus, of course, we have the two Dutchmen in Luke de Jong and Memphis Depay. The former might be leaving
Yeah.
back to Sevilla in January, and the latter is struggling, although it's been just 2 games. But he is struggling. Like he was caught offside a lot in the previous game, and we did mention in the live commentary as well. Maybe Kai can analyze a bit more on that. So we have great options, of course, and Gavi can also play really well, and Dest as well. So great depth in attack. So yeah, really excited for that.
Okay, so Kai, what do you want to add on about our options in attack versus
I
Bayern
think
Munich?
Frankie probably said the most. I'm absolutely unaware of Bayern's injuries, attacking wise, but I think the issue is obvious. Is that in Lewandowski they have a dude who can finish very well, and at any given error, this might backfire very quickly. For our own attack, I would say that definitely the concern is to what extent will Frankie be involved, because in past games, notably the last one against Bayern, the entire team was defensive minded, following Koeman's instructions. And the question is to what extent will this repeat this time? Or to what extent will Busquets have to run a lot? That's another question to ask. And to me, that is what Xavi will have to answer. And I think I've seen a report today saying that Xavi asked his midfielders to shoot more, both Gavi and Frankie. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I definitely think that will be a key factor to see to what extent Frankie, for example, will be involved in the final third. So I think that's definitely the most important part. And of course, I hope that we will not over rely on the left as we normally do. The game against Benfica was the only one where we mostly relied on the right, which is why I hope that that will continue. I'm unsure if he will continue to start, for example, Demir, or for example, as we mentioned earlier, someone else might take the spot. But either way, I'm very excited to see how the midfield and the attack coordinate, because that's something we've lacked. And finally, of course, if we finish, but that's more of not non-controllable issue that we have.
Yeah, exactly. And just because Bayern's attackers, maybe most of them, might be not
Yeah.
injured, but I think the lack of Kimmich will also affect them. Because Kai, you are also like most of us believe that offense is defense and defense is offense, right? So even Kimmich's absence is gonna contribute to cripple their build-up. So yeah, there's that.
Definitely. If you
Yeah.
look at it, Kimmich has been not only controlling their game, but his long reach for his passes plays a big role. So they'll definitely miss him in a way. I'm assuming they'll manage to find some way, but I'm sure that Kimmich's absence will be noticeable.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, that they often rely on long passes, so Araujo's aerial combat skills will come in handy. Also, Ter Stegen's current form, I don't mean to jinx it, but it might come in handy. But yeah, now moving on to Gabby, since we covered most of it. Gabby, on the right wing, we have three probable options like Yusuf Demir, Dembele, and the youngster who has just been registered with the UCL. Who do you think should start? I mean, obviously not the youngster because he is too young, but to start in a match against Bayern, I mean. So, who do you ideally want to start? Now we're going to hit the buzzer and move on to our next topic, which is January transfers. So the transfer season is coming, and we aren't planning to spend that big in January. We are gonna spend higher bucks in the summer transfer window, but yeah, we are gonna talk about it. But there are some underrated talents, which I think Kai would be the perfect one to start talking about. So Kai, what are your expectations with the January window?
I don't have any sort of expectations because, as you probably know me, I'm rarely involved in whatever is the transfer market. But then I wouldn't mind if we
Yeah,
get
but
some sort
there
of
are
player.
some
I'm
names
thinking, for
circulating, you
example,
know. Like
yeah,
there are some names circulating, like some Swiss league players, some underrated gems. So why don't you talk
yeah.
about them? What do you think?
Personally, I would be interested if we could get a certain player called Brian Hill from Tottenham. That would be a very interesting transfer, since I think his profile would match Xavi's vision of wingers very well. And given
Ryan
that,
Gill, right?
yeah, Brian Hill, yes. He couldn't really exactly shine with Tottenham for obvious reasons, probably because Nuno's tenor was not exactly amazing. So I think we could get him for a decent fee. And as of right now, I think wingers are pretty important. I think if you want to have a nine, it's better towards for the summer, which is that's the reason I won't take Cabral from the Swiss league, simply because I think his transfer wouldn't be much better than having Luke De Jong or Kevin Prince Boateng, in the sense that yes, he's a decent option for certain clubs, but no, I don't think that his qualities on the ball are nowhere near enough for a club like Barcelona that necessitates um, constant movement. I don't think that Cabral could exactly do that when we talk about his feet. So personally, I won't exactly focus on getting major transfers. If you're gonna get somebody, just make sure that they're not high risk, because there's no point for me
Yeah.
when it's better to spend in the summer and take time for it. Make sure that Xavi fully wants
Yeah, it's difficult.
a certain transfer, because I think that if we're gonna buy someone and then Xavi is, for example, going to say half convinced or is not aware of, oh, the problem is the squad because he's only been a few weeks here, you're gonna have a massive sportive issue that you don't want to repeat again. So for me, as you said, it's much better to focus in the summer as the club plans to.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think
And
the same.
okay, yeah, perfect. So Pulkit, what are your thoughts about the January window?
Of course, financially, it's a difficult thing to do to get any player. We just Spanish media were reporting earlier today that Matthew Alemany is in Man City's offices today to negotiate for Raheem Sterling. But I'm not sure that he's a good option. Of course, he's out of favor in Man City because they have a lot of great players. But I'm not sure if he's the right fit for the club. Of course, financially, City will not make it easy for us. Maybe it's a loan option with an obligation to buy, which I think, like I mentioned, is a big risk, and we should not do risky signings. So I'm not sure about the Arthur Cabral transfer either because I'm not, I don't watch the Swiss league, and I think I agree with Kai that he'll be another Boateng or Luke Dion kind of transfer. So really not sure about him. Although if we give back Luke de Jong to Sevilla and get Arthur Cabral on loan without any option to buy or anything, then I think it's still riskable, I would say. But that's there. But if I'm Barcelona, I'm focused on the summer targets that we've been linked with lately with Dani Olmo and Karim Adeyemi. So I would rather focus on that, and I would also focus on selling the players that are unwanted, and we all know the list of those players. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, okay, great. And yeah, that's the thing. Most of the people who are promoting this Cabral agenda on Twitter, they don't watch the Swiss League. We have someone
Yeah.
here with us, yeah, like Kai, who actually regularly watches the Swiss League. And when he says that he is not technically enough to be in Barcelona, you better believe him. But to finish it off, Gabby, what are your thoughts? Do you want to add anything to the
Yeah, I
January window
think
topic? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think it's will be difficult about because of financial situation, but I'll
And we move on to the next topic. And also, guys, the January transfer window, the last 8 hours will be live streamed on our YouTube channel, just like the last summer window was.
Wow,
Yeah,
that was
so
wonderful. The
yeah,
Griezmann night.
great response. Yeah, great response from you guys, and we love to do it, and we shall do it again. Come join us and show us love. So yeah, the next topic is Araujo and Gavi contracts. Nothing much to speak about it, honestly. So Pulkit, just have at it.
Of course, the club wants to renew. We all know why. The transfer maestro of sorts, Fabrizio Romano reported that Gavi's contract is into
Who
its final
follows us,
stages.
by the way, on Twitter?
Yeah, definitely love that. Thanks to Fab, big shout out. And of course, the release clause will be 1 billion, like the one with Pedri for Gavi, of course, and it's in its final stages, and it's just about to put pen to paper. With Araujo, we still have to reach that stage, but of course, we know that the player wants to renew despite offers from elsewhere. He wants to sell the club, and we all know why. Like I also mentioned, he's a great defender, a baller,
yeah,
and
that's so good.
that's so good, so good. And I actually watched him during the 2018 preseason during the Ernie era. And that was the time when Pooj also broke to the scene, and I just loved him, and I just wanted to see him in the first team, and now he's here. So of course the club wants to renew, and hopefully they renew, and we have them locked for the future. So yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
pretty short
Any
topic. Yeah, Gabby, if you want to go ahead.
yeah. I read somewhere that Araujo is asking for a higher salary. I think it's normal, but I'm not sure. He knows the Barca financial situation, so I'm not sure about it. I'm not. I'm not doubting about his feelings. His feelings about Barca.
Yeah, we don't want
But
any Moriba situation occurring once again. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I wouldn't like to repeat Moriba's situation with Araujo because
definitely,
Araujo is
definitely.
outstanding and Moriba was average. So
yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
his defense. Araujo is miles better in his department than Moriba was in his department. So yeah, Araujo has been asking for more, and I think we can be able to offer him more eventually if we offload some players in the January transfer window. Players like Umtiti and Coutinho who are racking up a lot of wages. So yeah, we will see what happens, but we want them to renew, and the club is working day and night to ensure that they renew. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. So moving on to the next topic and hitting the
Also,
buzz.
so yes,
Okay.
I mean, also some reports say that Chelsea is interested in Gavi,
Yeah.
and
If they trigger
we have
his
to,
release clause, yeah.
you have to be, Barca has to be so careful with that, because we know Chelsea has a lot of money, can offer good wages to our players as well.
Yeah, Ricky Pooch laughing as we speak and hitting the buzzer. And moving on to the next topic, how to get the best out of Frenkie de Jong. And obviously, there is nobody else better to address this than, you guessed it, LJDP Kai. The mic is all yours. How to best use
Since
Frenkie de Jong?
since he came here, I've always campaigned that for Frankie to stay higher up the pitch instead of the much wanted and requested Busquets replacement, as many claim, for the simple reason that I believe that the way Frankie carries the ball splits defense very quickly, whereas if you put him deeper up, you're losing a offensive transition tool that is very effective. So for me, it actually showed, especially in the Espanyol game, where Frankie goes on that half space vertical lane and just carries the ball through that, and by that he just splits the defense. And that reminded me a lot of his Ajax days, which is why for me he should be higher up. And Xavi has already said in one of the press conferences, I forgot which one, that he wants him to score more goals, be more involved in build-up. And I definitely think that the best way to do that is to have Frankie higher up the pitch, even though I think that his nature as a player means that you can't influence him to like one zone. You can't tell him stay in the left half space, for example, because he'll be over the pitch. That's just how he is, and that's what makes him so valuable. So for me, Barca have to continue playing him higher up the pitch
But don't
in
you
most
think, I sorry
cases.
to cut you,
Yeah,
cut you.
same. I think the same.
Don't you think that Nico has taken over that role in the recent games he's played, being more of a box-to-box, finding himself in the box, on the line, and all of that? Don't you think Nico has taken more of that role from Frankie?
I'd say that Nico has. To me, actually, what happens is that Frankie and Nico should get the understanding to play together, and that meaning that if the one pushes up, the other has to make sure that in case he loses the ball, he's ready to press the opposition. That to me is they shouldn't. Even though I do think that Nico should be better deeper, because I think that the way he carries the ball is more effective from the defense. We could do that against Benfica, for example. But I definitely think that we shouldn't think of them as one position, more of two positions together that are very related in their roles, and that every time they should just understand each other.
Definitely.
Okay, and Gabby was saying something.
Finally. Yeah, he has. I mean, he has to have a more attacking role in Barca. I mean, with Koeman, he was playing also as center back. How can you explain? How can you explain that? I mean, De Jong has a De Jong has a really good. He treats the ball so good, and finally he has to have a more attacking role. With Koeman, he was so waste. He was playing on other positions. A center back.
Even a center back, that is outrageous.
I can't explain that. I can't explain De Jong playing a center back. That's so strange. What could you expect of Koeman? Nothing more.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
Griezmann playing left wing and passing the ball back. Yeah, definitely similar.
And of course, several other mistakes made by Ronald Koeman. But yeah, Kai, we cut you off abruptly there. Is there anything more you want to add?
Not specifically. My point, if I have to summarize, is if you want to take advantage of the aggressive carry, you need to make sure that when he does that, it actually splits defenses. Because I've always seen Frankie as somebody who disturbs the balance of the opposition more than balances his own his own team.
Okay, yeah. Great summary. Also, we are gonna move on and moving on to the next topic, the signing of Ferran Torres. We have received news, lots of news. Initially, it was that City aren't budging that much salary-wise or transfer fee-wise. But as of the latest news, Barca are offering up to 50 million euros, and as per FF Polo, he has said that City are agreeing to sell Ferran Torres at a price range of 50 to 55 million. That is because Ferran Torres himself is pushing for the transfer. He has told Pep Guardiola already that he wants to move, and City do not want a player who doesn't want to play with them as first priority. Of course, we shall talk about it on length soon, but before we say it, we must consider the fact that our attacking arsenal is quite a lot underpowered at the moment, and our CEO, the CEO of Barcelona, has said that we will be making transfers in January too, but we also need to offload some players like Coutinho and presumably Dembele, who most likely will not be renewing with Barcelona, given the fact that we have received latest news which states that his agent and him both want a higher salary offered to him than what Barcelona have offered him previously. And his agent also goes on to say that Dembele is a potential Ballon d'Or winner, and he is not being given the respect that a Ballon d'Or winner deserves. Exactly. Yeah. So Pulkit, go ahead. It's your turn. Feel free to speak and let us know your opinion.
Well, first of all, his agent Musa Sissoko, who says that Dembele is a potential Ballon d'Or candidate. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking, man. The player is so injury prone, he is so inconsistent. And it's just weird to say that, he's a Ballon d'Or candidate. Of course, he's talented and everything. And if he's getting more money somewhere else, then he should go. Because Barca is one of the best
preferably before his contract actually expires with us.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can sell him at Jan, and whatever money we get for him, we do. And of course, it will be very less. But I'm happy to offload him. And considering that a player like Ferran Torres is coming in, who has been coached by Pep Guardiola, who is coached by Luis Enrique in the national team as well, and he will add a lot to our attack. So really happy for that transfer if it does happen, of course. And I really hope that it does not hamper the transfer of Karim Adeyemi, because I really want him to be there as well. And so much firepower we'll have in attack, because you also mentioned that with the youngsters like Ilias and Abde coming in, Demir, of course, not sure whether we'll activate his buy option of 10 million, although very less money, but we are financially in doldrums. So a challenge. So of course, Fatih is there, Memphis is there as well, and Gavi mentioned, the potential Ballon d'Or candidate in Luke De Jong in the future is also there with us. So,
yes. Last transfer window, due to the last coach's express request, we brought Luke De Jong, and this coach's express request is Ferran Torres. Quite a jump there.
Quite a jump, quite a downgrade, don't you think? Luke De Jong,
Ferran Torres doesn't even come close to Luke, if we're being honest. Lukaku. Yeah.
So really happy with the Ferran Torres transfer. Actually, this news just came as a shocker to everyone, because no one expected this to happen a couple of days back, and so this is happening. So really happy with the news, and I hope that he comes and Dembele leaves as well in January.
Okay, Gabby, and what about your thoughts? What do you think about the Ferran Torres transfer?
In my opinion, is it could be a good movement for Barca. He is young. He's young. He is talented. He's so good. He is a clinical finisher. And if he doesn't feel good there in Manchester, we were open for him. To be honest, we don't have many chances to get other forwards. I mean, better than him. I mean, sorry. The problem is City. Well, I heard that City wants also a swap deal for Dest. What do you think about that?
Well, the reports which we've got regarding this aren't the top reliable, so I wouldn't like to comment on the fact that it will moving on to the next topic. Speaking of future Ballon d'Or winners, let us not forget the greatest of all time, lifting his seventh this year. Hashtag LM7.
John.
Yeah. Oh, come on. It's Lionel Messi. So, anyway, speaking of him, the greatest of all time. People may say that it's PSG's achievement that he has won at PSG, but I would beg to differ because the only reason he won the Ballon d'Or was due to his performances at Barcelona, winning the Copa del Rey, and then going on to win the Copa America. Even though he won the Copa America while he was out of contract, while he was a free agent, I would like to point out the fact which should be blatantly obvious that at heart he was a Barcelona player back then. He would have signed the contract right then and there if it was possible. So still, it's a remarkable achievement. Probably nobody else will ever do it again in the history of in no, in the history of football. It has never been done, but probably in the future of football also nobody will do it. Spanning in every decade for the last 3 decades, Lionel Messi has won a Ballon d'Or. Indeed, remarkable from an outrageously good player, the best ever, the greatest to step a foot inside the pitch. So let us talk about him and what we feel. Gabby, you can go first.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think Messi deserved the Ballon d'Or clearly this year. I mean, also Lewandowski, Benzema, and they are such good players. But he deserved this year because of America Copa America winner. He was also Copa del Rey winner and everything. So for me, he was a clear winner this year.
Factos. Factos, Gabby.
Factos,
Factos.
yes, Factos. Factos. I think Cristiano is a bit picky. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But what can I say more about Messi? I think everyone knows his quality, and I think this prize is only something to add on because he was already the best player of all time for me.
100% Factos. Never been truer words. So, Kai, what do you think if you care at all about the Ballon d'Or?
Wow, I will start by saying I don't care about Ballon d'Or because that's what I've said on Twitter and I'm gonna say it again. What I'll only say is that I'll quote Pep, who back then said, "Don't try to describe Messi, just watch him." And I feel that we didn't need the Ballon d'Or to say that, but cool. I'm glad for him that he won one, but I don't think there was any need of a Ballon d'Or to confirm how great he is. So that's all I'm gonna say.
I so agree with you, Kai, man. So agree with you on that. We don't need in a word to, justify how great Messi is. Definitely.
Yeah, so Pulkit, anything else you want to add on?
Oh, I just completely agree with Kai
Yeah,
on this.
so all of us agree that it is Factos that Messi won, Messi deserved it, and he didn't need a formal recognition that he's the best in the world again. So yeah, hitting the buzzer and moving on to our final topic of the day, which will be followed by the Q&A. So, expectations versus Betis. What will be the lineup? What would you like to see? What is more likely to happen? What would you like to see? Not necessarily even formation wise. If there's anything else, Kai, you can go first since it is up your alley.
Well, we won't talk about formations because it's me. It's
Yeah.
what sort of questions. So I'm hoping to see Abdi starting, as it has been rumored, because I think that he'd manage to have a greater edge than Ilias, even though I wouldn't mind either of them on the right wing. I think we definitely have our chances because the defense of Real Betis is absolutely horrendous, and they're known for that for years. And it's sort of a bit improved, but it's still a big mess. I definitely think we should watch out for Tello and Lainez because they're two of the key players that are there. I think there's, if I'm not wrong, Fekir, who's either injured or suspended or something like
He's
that.
suspended for the game.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so he's suspended. So that's really good luck because Fekir is like the key player since he joined in. But I definitely think we should watch out, for example, Diego Lainez, who's on the right wing usually, but he can drift in the center because he's been very good since he's come on. He's quite young as well. He's still in his like mid-20s, not even, I think. So that's definitely something to watch out for, given that our defense has some issues, as it's been proven as of late. I definitely think that we'll see a lot of goals because neither of the teams are really known for the defense. Are more known, for playing through the middle, playing through the wings as well. So that's definitely going to be a lot of fun. I definitely hope to see, hopefully, some key substitutions in the rotations and control, because I think that's the biggest thing, is we need to control the game, which we failed to do in the past few games, bar Benfica. We've had like good first half and bad second half in the case of Villarreal. It was a mess, more or less, defensively throughout the game. So I'm hoping to see, more constant display, and maybe, a few key substitutions to show that we can rotate. For example, think, for example, of Abde Ilyas, give them each one half, depending on, how they're playing. And then it depends, I'm excited to see if, for example, Ricky Puig is going to play as a substitute, because Xavi talked, I think at some point we said it already, but he's actually, Xavi said that he's planning to use him, that he will have a role. And for me, the best is to, gradually increase his role. And as a substitute, I think that the Betis game would be perfect if you sub him more or less at the 70th when their defense gets started and he comes with energy. But I definitely think that it will be closer than most expect, but I expect us to win.
Okay, I mostly agree with you as always, but I think that we will keep a clean sheet. There will be a lot of goals, but from our end. But I think that we'll keep a clean sheet. Of course, this is a prediction, not
Same.
an
I'm not
analysis.
sure I expect, a lot, given our defense knowing. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
if Garcia
But
plays
yeah,
right back
I wouldn't
again.
be surprised if we do
Yeah,
get a clean sheet, but it's not really, like I don't mind it if we get it, but it's not really a goal for me.
I see. So
But I
Pulkit,
think also, yeah, so sorry to cut you, Sagnik. Also, I think Ilyas will get minutes because Bayern's game is on Wednesday, and he would need that match sharpness and match fitness. So he'll get a few minutes even if half day starts. Um, Also, I think this game also will be a testament for how we perform at Bayern. So probably we will see some players who did not get minutes earlier get minutes under Xavi, because he'll be saving those players for the Bayern game as well, the key players. So we would see players, might see rather I should say, players like Puig getting some minutes under Xavi. Maybe Minguesa also getting some minutes, even though he did not play very well in the past couple of games. I read your thread, Kai, on Twitter. So, and I hope that we do not see Eric on right back, but because that did not work against Villarreal and it will not work again either. So, yeah, otherwise, I do agree with you guys. I do see us winning this game. It's at the camp now. Although Betis is on 5th in the table with 27 points and we are at 7th with 23 points. So even if we win, we'll be a point behind Betis. So, but yeah, good 3 points for us. So I hope we win. Yeah.
so Gabby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it could be a full match, but I think Barcelona will win it, of course.
I'm gonna hit the buzzer, and we are gonna move on to the Q&A. But before you attack us for not addressing the Pedri Golden Boy win, the Pedri Copa win, and the Alexia Ballon d'Or win, we would like to point out that we have congratulated them heartily on our social media handles, and of course we have praised them many times during the podcasts. So yeah,
I wish
there
Chelsea
is.
was here to talk about it.
Yeah. She'll probably be here on the next transfer stream, so you
Yeah,
guys can stay tuned.
yeah.
So yeah, basically, there is nothing really to be said. Everything that we have needed to be said about these phenomenal players has already been said by us. So once again, we would congratulate them formally here for the Ballon d'Or, the Golden Boy, and the Copa Trophy. And we are gonna move on to the
Completely
first question.
deserved.
Yeah, exactly. All of them deserved, and all of those victory, apart from the Golden Boy, of course, all of those victories on Barcelona's 122nd Foundation Day, amazing. That day is auspicious. We also beat Madrid 5-0 that day in history. So move on to the final segment, a new segment which we call You Ask, We Answer. It is essentially a Q&A session which is held on, you can submit your questions on Twitter and Instagram, and maybe even comment them if you have any for our future episode. So yeah, we will start, and the first question is, will Dembele stay in Barcelona? Well, it is a tough thing to address. His agents are the ones who are being very unmanageable. So Dembele actually probably wants to stay. We have seen in the news that he and Xavi have talked a lot. Xavi has told him that he counts on him and that he could be a great person to rely on for the
Yeah.
Barcelona future. And also, right now, because his agents are being difficult, Xavi has said that we have offered him the contract. Whether he accepts it or not is up to him. And also, he has reportedly received offers from clubs like Newcastle United. So it is a tough thing to predict. Gabby, what do you think? Is he
Yeah,
gonna
I
stay?
think. Yeah, I think he must. I feel like him can be one of the leaders of the new project because of his quality and his technique and everything. Also, Xabi is counting a lot on him, so I think probably he will stay. We will manage to keep him. Uh, that's the point. He can be one of the leaders of the new project. I think that's the main point, main reason to stay in Barca.
Okay, interesting analogy. And Pulkit, what do you think? Will he stay?
Of course, like you mentioned, it depends on him. Fan base is of course split into two halves. That we should sell him because of his injury problems and inconsistency and stuff like that. But we know the talent is there. So I'm not sure. It depends on him. I think because he wants to stay, even though his agents are creating a fuss, I think he'll end up staying. So yeah.
Yeah, and Kai, do you wanna predict anything? Like you hate
I
predicting, but
won't predict anything. The only thing I'm gonna say is that a renewal in Barca going normally is not a thing. It doesn't work.
yeah,
So the fact that the Bele's renewal is taking so long is it would feel wrong if it didn't. Simple as that. So I feel that we're actually going to get them to extend at some point when they're going to stop to being a pain in the ass. And definitely think simply because Xavi has put a lot of trust in Dembele. He said it before he came here as a manager, and he's still saying it. So I definitely don't see, for example, if you remove basically Dembele from Xavi, Xavi's probably going to react and ask what on earth is going on. You're supposed to support me, and you're just basically taking my best player away. And the issue is that you can't really blame on the player because there's a certain agent that is being especially paying. I'm pretty sure if it was just up to Dembele, he would be fine with signing the new contract. So that's going to be fun, but I definitely feel that the renewal is going to happen.
yep, yeah. So a pretty collectively a pretty
Anyway,
positive outlook. Yeah, Gabby.
Yes. Anyway, I hope the new medical staff and also with the new rules of Xavi, Dembele
Yeah, will
takes a
improve
step.
physically. Yeah.
Yes, will improve, of course. Yeah. I think he will improve a lot with the new rules and with the new medical staff and everything. So
It can't get
also,
worse.
it can't get worse. That's it. Xavi. Anyway, one of his first demands was to change the medical staff. So he knows what's going on.
Yeah, man, Xavi is dedicated, and he, most importantly, with his rules, he not only he not only takes care of the players while they are training, he's taking care of an entire lifestyle of the players. He monitors what they eat, how they train, how they behave outside. I think it is great because Barcelona always has been a step more than just a sport. Més que un club, that's our motto. We are more than a club, and yes, with Xavi it shows. And thoughts on Ter Stegen? Well, in a word, I would say that very good. Under Xavi, he has been very good, no matter what trolls on Twitter might say. But yeah, I think he has been very good, and I think most of us will agree. So, Pulkit, what do you think? Thoughts on Ter Stegen?
Ter Stegen is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. I don't get why people give him so much stick. It's sad that he does not start for Germany. I've always preferred him over Neuer, not because I hate Bayern or anything. I just think that Ter Stegen is really, really good. I think it's more of a good situation for him in the national team against Neuer. He should really start, and I've always loved him. He has bailed us out a lot of times in in front of a very weak defense or massive defensive errors. He has made some great saves for us over the years, and of course love him. And under Xavi, because he's worked with him as a player also, and it can only get better for Ter Stegen from here. So really hoping that he stays at that level, rather improves on it. But I really don't understand the kind of stick sometimes he gets. I mean, like people on Twitter have an agenda or whatever. Those fans do not understand. Fans are very emotional. They do not understand. So yeah, that's my point.
Okay, and Gabby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that there's no other goalkeeper for what Xavi wants. I mean, for the Barca players, that there's not any keeper right now with a better foot play. I mean, I don't know if you understand me. He's so good with the foot, and he must be our goalkeeper for all these Xavi era. I completely trust him.
Okay, and Kai, what is your opinion?
I don't really have an exact opinion on that one, because I think that the issues with Ter Stegen are massively overstated. I think that yes, he has some dip in form whatsoever, but the fact is that it's hard for me to rate how good he'll be under Xavi, given that he's basically had very little work to do. When you prevent chances, you can't really say the goalkeeper is good, because he's basically without employment, more or less. So he'd probably search for a job during the first half of Espanyol, and he'd be fine as well. So I definitely feel that it's impossible for me to say whether he has been really better. He has been decent, but I wouldn't say I've been impressed, or would say it's a new Gavi. He's just done his job, and that's about it.
Yeah, okay, so you give a lot of props to the actual collective system, which makes us defensively more solid. Okay, so our next question: why doesn't Barcelona get a new defender? Well, number one, money, and number two, I'm not entirely sure that we need a new defender. You might attack me for it, but in my opinion, Piqué, Garcia, Arahu, all of them have been great.
I think now we can say that.
Yeah.
We couldn't say that last season.
Exactly.
I think now we can still say it, because of we didn't have Garcia last season, and Araujo was still getting used to being in the first team and stuff. So
yeah, and Piqué has improved exponentially.
Definitely,
over the last few months.
He's so good in the air, and he has become more of a goal threat as well recently. So yeah. So I don't think we need one, even though we were linked with Aymeric Laporte and others also.
Speaking,
recently,
and also if you can argue that the club doesn't have a purely left-footed centre back right now. So Longley is the only option.
And like we mentioned, Mika.
Mika. Yeah. Anyway. Looking at our financial situation, it could be fine to try some Barca B defenders, like Mika, for example. Is performing so good. He's performing so good, We can try also that defender. They are La Masia made, and I think looking our financial situation and also is good for the team. I think it's better if we try to get some defender from La Masia than if we buy new defenders.
Because of course, like adding to not Gavi, Gavi's point, that Laporta also wanted his vision for the club during his presidential campaign was to, go back to La Masia and have a squad filled with La Masia players. And in Xavi's first game, we had 8 La Masia players on the pitch at different points of time in total. So I think agree with Gabi that we can of course go back to La Masia and try some of our defenders from the B team. So yeah.
So Kai, any opinion you want to state about Mika?
I would say that he's been a brilliant player this semester. Jesus Christ. I didn't expect him because he was pretty decent last season, but he hadn't really impressed me in a sense. But this season he has, and I definitely think that at some point Xavi will give him chances for the simple reason that it's always better to have a left footer as on left centre back and a right footer on the right centre back. It's not immediate issue, but it can be. So I definitely think that Xavi at some point, maybe at the end of the season or who knows, he'll get his chance because I don't think there's any way that, for example, he notices Ilias, he notices Abde, but he doesn't notice Mika Madmol, who has been, to my sense, one of our best players in the B team. But then it really depends how it goes. Because, for example, let's say Longley performs, I don't know if Xavi will keep, because the games against Benfica when Longley played, it was far from a bad game from him, so I can't really complain about Longley's level either.
Yeah. Anyway, his level wasn't bad, but he was so far from Piqué and Araujo in that matching level. I mean, they were so secure, putting all the balls and everything, and Lenglet was. In some
Yeah, he was
sometimes.
average. He's usually below average. This match he was just average. Also, if you notice, as we covered in detail in the post-match review on Spotify, that initially our opposition Benfica's left winger, who originally faced Araujo, he couldn't make much progress. But as soon as in the second half he switched to the opposite side, he became a direct competitor of Longley, and after that we saw much more penetration by Benfica into our defense, which obviously says a lot about the difference in quality between someone like Arahu and someone like Longley. So yeah, that is what I was adding. Gabby, if you want to continue what you were saying.
No, nothing else. I mean, he was average, and for example, Piqué and Araujo were outstanding against Benfica. That's the difference between them. I'm not asking him to do miracles because, of course, Lenglet is not Araujo and is not Piqué. But I don't know if I can choose, I would choose another player than Lenglet on the defense.
Exactly. Okay, and moving on to the next question then. Thoughts on Arthur Cabral? Kai, go ahead. The mic is all yours. Thoughts on Arthur Cabral?
All right, so guess it's my turn. So the thing for Cabral is, I think the reason why there's been this hype, firstly in Analytics FT and then on Barca FT for some reason, don't ask me why, it's always the case, is that because Barcelona miss a clinical finisher, so they focus on a clinical finisher. The issue is that before you get the goal, you need to get in that position, and I don't feel Cabral is the right one. He's very talented, don't get me wrong, but how he plays on the feet doesn't make me think he will succeed in a Barca-like environment, because I would expect whoever plays in the middle to be very key in dropping deep, in creating 3 versus 2 superiorities, in getting in shooting positions. And from Cabral, I'm only getting the sensation he can get in the shooting positions, and that's about it. You wouldn't get a lot of hold-up play. which is crucial, especially in an era where La Liga is focused on deep blocks, is focused on not opening up the spaces by themselves, and you need someone to do that. Because I wouldn't want us to rely on the wings whatsoever. And even though I know Cabral wouldn't come for expensive, I don't feel that's the right transfer to do. I don't mind the transfer, but I think that his play on the feet is way too low for someone who expects, in an environment like Barca, to properly juggle between the players, to properly juggle between the lines. I don't see Cabral doing that. If I'm proven wrong, so be it. But then again, I think his transfer would be like 10 million, which is like not a lot. But then again, it's better to invest those 10 millions in a much more
elsewhere.
valuable transfer in the summer.
Especially not even in summer, because we are looking out for other players like Florian Wirtz, who, let me read out his statistics against the match versus Celtic FC. He played 89 minutes. He had 2 assists. He had 84% passing accuracy and 100% long ball accuracy. I think someone like him, I would pick any day over someone like Cabral. Even though there is some financial difference between the price of the two, I would rather save that money to be invested into someone like Wirtz later or in this window itself than someone like Cabral, who you're pointing out is pretty average. So yeah, Gabby, you wanna add anything?
No, not really. I don't know Cabral so much. I know he's a tall defender, and he is a clinical finisher, but nothing else. And like I said, he is not good with the feet, and also he is not the best dribbling. And I think it's an average player that's not from Barca, definitely.
Okay, so yeah, guys, don't get misled by what you read on Twitter that much. Kai here watches the Swiss League every day, and when he says something like this, he has reason to. So
you better believe Kai.
Yeah, better believe Kai. Yeah, he's just genetically superior to all of us combined.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
And now moving on to the final question: can Barcelona spend money in the summer window? Yeah, of course.
Only if we sell.
Yeah, only if we sell, of course. The targets are Adeyemi, Olmo, or Florian Wirtz, and a few others. But it is
Adeyemi would be fine.
Yeah, Adeyemi would be great. And but the thing is, at the end of the day, if we don't sell players, we can't sign new players. Just like on the field where defense is offense and offense is defense, here selling is buying and buying is selling. So yeah, I think you guys want to add anything onto it? There's nothing
I think
really.
also if the financial situation wise, I think we'll if Griezmann plays that 50% of the games, I'm still not sure what the deal is. If that's the deal, and I think we'll get that money in the summer.
Yeah, the deal is that the obligation to buy will be triggered if he plays 50% of the matches in which he is available. The match
I think that will happen this season.
Yeah, exactly. It's already happening. It's like 100%, almost 100% right now, because the matches in which he has red cards or is injured, they don't count. So
yeah, definitely. So I think we'll get money a little bit from there. And of course, if we manage to sell the deadbeat, as you mentioned, always Sagnik, we'll get some money. So I think if Adeyemi's price is around 30-40 or something around that, I think we'll be able to afford him. And like we've talked about this before also, that he really wants to join Barcelona. I think that will work in our favor in this situation. And as per the Spanish media and other media outlets who were reporting recently, that even though a lot of clubs are after Adeyemi, Dortmund and Barca are the front runners.
Yeah, and Dortmund is a finished club, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. So we'll see. So and of course, and Dani Olmo, we can argue about that. We would love for him to come back to Barca.
Well, if Adeyemi is cheaper and available, I would always go for Adeyemi.
I would prefer Adeyemi
as well. So can't compare the two players because
no, not comparing the two. Just just saying that if I
financially,
had a choice,
I get your point. Financially, of course, I get your point. It's a better field.
Of course, Kai would probably disagree, but he has a lot of followers.
It's
controversial
just that
opinions. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
feel it would make more sense from Barca's perspective to get him, simply for the reason that I'm a huge fan of Ademi as well, just like everyone else. And I think that especially the unexpected turn this season should turn
So
him
you're
more
for
into a goal
Ademi as
threat
well.
than a dribbler.
So you're
Yeah,
for
yeah, I would get Ademi for firstly because of the financial season, and secondly because in terms of profile, because you need to have someone in case Dembele doesn't renew. And I feel that Ademi would be perfect. Olmo for me is more of a luxury signing, more of a dream. But then I've learned through the years that if I have a dream about signing a player at Barca, it will never happen. So I will have to be content with seeing Adeyemi instead. And that means at least that Barca will not be able to destroy Dani Olmo. So that's already a good news.
Okay, so Gabby, is there anything you want to say about this to finish it off?
Not really. Our financial situation is not so. It's not the best. That's known. But I think we can sign Adeyemi, as you said. I think that would be a good thing. He's young. He's a finisher, and I don't know. We don't need anyone on the midfield. Also, maybe in defense one time, but not too much. We almost need strikers because we lost Messi and we lost Griezmann, so we need to sign a striker. That's the main point of the summer transfers.
Yeah, exactly. Clinical finishing. So, yeah, guys, it was great to be back after such a long time, but now you can expect weekly podcast episodes from us. And of course, Gabi, welcome to the BarcaBuzz team. It was a great performance from you. And okay,
Yeah.
so thank you for watching this episode of Buzzing with Barca. So, yeah, we'll see you again in the live match watch along. Forza Barca, Vical Barca, signing out till then. Goodbye.